Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Dear viewers, on the behalf of the Genesin of Education Impression Roorkee, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. Today is Guru Purnima, and Guru having important role in our lives. So this interview is dedicated to my Guru, who show me the path of light, who show me the path of wisdom. And today we have special guest, Dr. Kalpana Gopalan. Dr. Kalpana Gopalan, IAS, is a composite public policy professional, a true versatilist. She wears many hats: practitioner, policy maker, scholar, author, volunteer, and mother. She secured the 19th rank in the All India Combined Civil Service Examination in 1987. Her 33-year work experience in the Indian administrative service spans land administration, energy, handicrafts, urban management, public distribution system, sports, rural development, youth, training and education. She is now the Additional Chief Secretary, Labour and Public Grievance Redressal, Government of Karnataka. She has received different awards like Mother Teresa Women Empowerment Award for outstanding contribution to excellence in leadership, the International Human Rights Award under the Women of Courage category in 2019, the Sexy Brilliant COVID Leadership Award, the Social Activist Pratibha Samman, the SARS Nation Human Rights Association Award, the Inspiring Change Maker Giving Economy Award, Thought Leader Certification of Dr. GSK Social Labs, and the Genesin Outstanding Pathway to Governance Leadership Award 2021. She was recognized as a great warrior of humanity by the International Human Rights Advisory Council for her humanitarian services and best practices on COVID-19 prevention in 2020, and was appreciated by UNICEF and the Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences for COVID-19 response in 2020. She is a LinkedIn Woman Wonder and Inspirational Leader in 2020. She was facilitated and awarded citations and commendation by the National Social Scheme Karnataka Bangalore University, NITT University, Mysore University, IJASRW 2020, Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences, Gulbarga University, Jain University, SJES Institutions 2019, Republic of Maldives 2015, and Institution of Engineers of India 2013. She was awarded the NLM UNESCO 2000 Award for Karnataka with her work in literacy and the Karnataka Ratan Award in 2013 for Corvée Handicrafts. She is an advisor, Bangalore City Corporation, Honorary Consultant, Administrative Training Institute, Mysore, Member, Advisory Committee, Public Sector Advisory, Grant Thornton LLP, and Member Advisory Board, Government Blockchain Association India. She is a hybrid leader with a unique mix of public service, business school, and academic credentials. She visited in different universities all over the world. Now, my first question is, how challenging it was for you to study first and then reaching at the highest position in one of the two topmost education institutions?
Very, very far-reaching question. Looking back, I feel that my life has been like a tapestry. A tapestry of joy and pain, struggle and accomplishment, fulfillment and disappointment. I have juggled several careers, as you know. I have been an IAS officer, I'm still a serving officer, an author of several books, a volunteer, a researcher, a speaker, and a mother. So, in a way, if my life appears like a multicolored tapestry, full of different things and different activities. But at the same time, it's not a chaotic life, because my own sense of selfhood, which grew as I grew and matured, and my primary self-identity is that of a learner. I recognize myself not by these multiple labels and hats that I wear, but as a learner who has passed through life trying to learn as much as she can. And so that gives a certain kind of orderliness and integrity to this life. Any challenges? Not in the way you think of. To do my PhD came easily enough, because I had already, it was there in my mind. I did it mid-career. To get into the IAS just happened. But the real choice that I made was when I was completing my BA final year. And at that time, my family has always been a family which emphasized education a lot. It was very important. Higher education was important. Study well. So that had always been the focus. So I grew up with this, that I would do my MA and then I would do my BA and then I would pass on to do my MA. But somewhere around the time when I was doing my BA final year, one of my uncles decided that I should get married. So now, if education was a family trait, so was deference to elders. And so when my uncle expressed this, my parents just agreed. And this came as a shock to me, because I had throughout thought that I would do my BA and then I would do my MA. And this happened at the time of my BA final. So I remember that I used to be studying. I used to pace up and down my room studying. And for me, life was inconceivable without an MA, without doing a master's. So I used to rush out of my room and plead with my parents, I want to do my MA, I want to do my MA. And then, somehow I managed to convince them. The marriage idea was dropped at the time. I went on to top my university in BA, and then I got into my master's, and I topped the university in my master's as well. So the real choice that I made was at that time. It seems so trivial today, because higher education, at least for the urban middle classes, has become a kind of sine qua non. But at that time, 30 odd years ago, it was it was a very definite choice.
Yes, ma'am.
So that was how I got into the whole. Of course, I then completed my PhD and so on. Got into the IAS. Got married as well, incidentally.
Yes.
Later.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, were there any instances when you were in dilemma to continue in job or leave it for your family or for your for other reasons?
Never ever.
Okay, ma'am.
Never ever once. It is inconceivable for me to give up my career for the sake of family or give up my family for the sake of my career. I don't see this in a bipolar way. As I said, my own sense of selfhood, my own growth has been inextricably intertwined both with my career and with my role as a homemaker and a mother and with my own family. So it has never crossed my mind. What does happen though is that at different times different things take focus.
Yeah, ma'am.
So, this can be very in small things. When a child is sick, then my focus is on taking care of her. When there is a crisis in the office, my focus is totally on taking care of that or solving that crisis. So, at different times, different things take up my time and concentration. So, I go with the flow. Okay. I don't live life in compartments saying this time is for home, this time is for office. I'll move according to how the demands are made upon me. But never ever have I thought that I should give up one for the other. In fact, it's the very opposite in a way that I want to do more. I wish I could do more with the time available to me. So I'm always on the look for opportunities. As I said, every single day is a learning experience.
Yes, ma'am.
That is so.
Ma'am, the concept of woman entrepreneurship is being popularized day by day, but it is not easy to go with it. So what would you suggest to the women and girls regarding become entrepreneur while studying, so support their families in the way men or boys do?
Well, only two things hold us back in my thinking. One is the lack of capital.
Yes.
And one is the lack of confidence.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, for the lack of capital, today there are so many schemes and programs and associations and funders who ease the access of women to funding. Government has so many schemes. We have the women's development corporations which fund women entrepreneurs. The Stand Up India and Startup India have schemes for women. Many states have women entrepreneurship policies. So there are any number of ways in which the access to capital is being addressed both by the government and by the industrial and corporate sectors. Regarding the second, confidence. That is something that we should work on ourselves.
Yes.
That each of us should be able to build that confidence, and it comes. All of us start out with very little experience. Women entering the working world itself is something new, both in India and abroad. But that moment comes when you have to foray into the world and find your way. And let me tell you an interesting story. I think it was about 3 years ago. I visited Rajgiri College in Kochi.
Okay.
And I addressed the students and faculty there on entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So I spoke to them and I had a nice, pleasant evening with them, and I came back. About a year ago, Meera Sharon connected with me on LinkedIn. Now, who is Meera? I didn't know Meera before that. I didn't know her particularly. So she told me that she was in the audience when I was speaking to the students of Rajgiri College. She was a student of that college. She had just passed out. So she had come to listen to my talk. And she was so inspired. She started her own venture. Wordsmith. She was good at English. She and her sister together started this venture called, a new startup venture called Wordsmith.
Okay.
And Meera told me that her listening to my speech, her experience, her inspiration had been my talk to the students that day.
Yes.
I didn't know Meera. I didn't talk to her in particular or personally. She was there sitting in the audience and she got inspired. So this happens. So Meera found her spark that afternoon sitting in the audience listening to my talk. So each of us will find our spark that way. And I was enormously fulfilled that, that when you go and talk to youth, you really, you go with that urge that you want to create an impact.
Yes.
To help change lives is something too ambitious. But to make a difference, even a small difference in someone's life, to help someone's learning and growth, that has always been my driving power, so to say.
Okay.
And Meera's story is, one such.
Yes.
I inspired her to inspire me. So that is something which I would like to share with you.
Yes, ma'am. The university is in rural area. How it is helpful for the women around in getting education?
Okay. Rural universities in general, including yours, the principal service, in my opinion, the principal service that they provide is improving access. This is the critical thing, that it makes education, higher education available for women closer to their home. And for other reasons as well, it improves access, which we'll come to later on. So this, I think, is critical. That's the principal thing. But I want to add that there are other less obvious contributions that rural universities make, and that is hidden. People don't realize because it is so intangible. Now, we have a rural university in Karnataka. It is Kuvempu University in Shimoga district of Karnataka. Now, in 2013, they had invited me to deliver a series of a course, basically, in the form of weekend lectures to their students. So every week I used to travel from Bangalore to Shimoga as a guest lecturer. This was, for me, it was at that time I was just still in completing my thesis in IIM Bangalore as a PhD student. And for me, the Shimoga Kuvempu Rural University was a very interesting contrast to the to IIM Bangalore, which was my alma mater. Now, unlike IIM Bangalore, research in Kuvempu University was less sophisticated. And even less rigorous. Okay, their access to databases, online information was much less, significantly less than an institution like IIM Bangalore or any of the elite institutions. But in terms of richness of data, and in terms of the authenticity of the experience, I found that the research taking place in Kuvempu University was far superior in a way to most of the elite institutions that because they're so close to the people. Every experience, I interacted a lot with the research students, PhD students there. Some of them were from overseas, some of them from different parts of India. And the experiences which they narrated resonated with me as an officer. As an IAS officer, I've traveled every nook and corner. I interacted with the people. And I found that it was, say, unsanitized, clear, authentic experience which was reflected in their own analysis. And that for me is, one of the most important, less tangible contributions that rural universities make. You are fortunate that you are so close to the people and your research can be so authentic.
Yes. Ma'am, how is the new education policy opening the front in women education?
Now, NEP 2020 and has set itself ambitious goals, and gender parity is one of them. So in one sense, NEP 2020 focuses on the safety and security of school-going girls, both within the campus and outside the campus. The universities and the schools have to ensure that they have done away with harassment, discrimination, before they can get their annual accreditation. So this will increase, per se, the attendance, girls' attendance in the club. The mere safety and security which it entails, the accreditation entails. Further, at the policy level, the NEP recognizes additional barriers to education, particularly at the primary level. And as you know, 4 distinct socio-economic disadvantaged groups have been earmarked, identified within the policy, and within each segment, girls are considered to comprise about 50%, so that they face additional disadvantages due to their gender. And it also, NEP also has enlisted measures to address female dropouts, ensuring the availability of safe, hygienic and functioning toilets. We have been wrestling with this problem of school sanitation. At least I have seen it throughout my service experience. We create those toilets, then the toilets are not maintained, they are not available, they are blocked, they are not cleaned. So this fully functioning toilets is very significant for me, because it's not merely enough to construct toilets. You have to see that they are functional and usable as well. And providing bicycles, creation of walking groups, all these I feel that they will improve female attendance, particularly in the higher grades. Because girls, as they grow older, they tend to drop out of schools. So I think gender sensitization, both in terms of infrastructure, school environment and teacher training, all these together will help address this problem. Nothing, however, no policy initiative will ever work unless and until society is taken along. So to change that mindset where we say that girls don't need education, like my uncle had long ago, that has to go. So that is something which we need to do. So policy and practice have to go hand in hand for NEP to be a success.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, what are the milestones you want to get through yet?
I want to leave behind a legacy. Now I have a substantial body of work. I've done work, crossed milestones, won awards in my service. An IAS officer. I have a body of work as an academic, and I have won many recognitions and accolades as a volunteer or a advocate, social advocate as well. But I feel there's one lacuna, partly to do with my service, because we don't stay too long in any place. As IAS officers, we enter quickly, we learn, we adapt, we create change, and then we move on. So I don't have something which I can say that I have conceived myself, I have nurtured it to maturity and self-sufficiency. Except perhaps my children. I can say that my children, but not something outside the family. So that is something where I would like to leave a legacy. And more and more, as I see around me, what is happening in the world around me, it is not so much higher education as capacity building, which is the key to progress. Everybody in the country need not have a PhD. That's not help matters. But you need people to be the best at what they do.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, if there's a carpenter, he should be the best carpenter that can be.
Yes.
If there is a bus driver, he has to be the best driver that he can be. So I think capacity building is the key. And I would like to leave a lasting legacy there. I am doing something about it right now, because now I head the labor department, and we within the labor department, not my creation, we had an existing labor training institute.
Okay.
But what I have done is to rejuvenate that institute. People from different walks of life. This is meant for training labor. Okay, in different, because we have this now. We have also roped in corporates where they will provide skills. Now let us say a painter, one of those big paint manufacturing firms, they will provide the skill. So that way we want that Labour Institute should become a kind of nodal agency for capacity building for these clients of ours, that is labour. So this is something which not particularly restricted to labour alone, but I would like to leave a mark. I would like to leave a legacy in the capacity building space. Today or tomorrow, when in service or outside service, that is secondary. But that is what I would like to do.
Yes, ma'am. And what are your post-retirement plans, ma'am?
I think this is what I would like to do. As I said, something in the capacity building space. I have been a learner somewhere throughout my life. Somewhere along the way, I think it was around the time when I was doing my PhD that I realized that this gift which I had of higher education, of learning, of being able to meet, talk and interact with the best minds, I had taken it for granted. But I realized that this is something unique. This is a gift from God.
Yes, ma'am.
That I was enabled to learn. Barriers to learning were not so many in my case, in spite of gender or region or other limitations which all of different all of us face in different ways. So I felt that I have to do something to give back, and that is how I evolved into a speaker.
Yes.
The natural gravitation of a PhD scholar is into research.
Yes, ma'am.
I do that as well. I published several books. I published 3 books, a number of journal articles. So I do that as well. But the reach of research is limited in a way. You reach people like you who have the benefit of higher education. You don't reach the common man, and especially you don't reach the youth. How many of your students are sitting and poring over this public policy journal or serious journal? That's not what they read. They read what is on their internet, Wikipedia. Sites. That becomes the source of learning. So I felt that for greater reach and attention span, who wants to read a 50-page article? You would read it. I would read it.
Yes,
but not they. So there, a 5-minute talk can have equal impact or even more impact at times than a very scholarly article. So I love research. As a person, in the personal sense, you leave me with my books and I'm happy. I don't want anything more. But to reach out to the world and reach out to the youth, I felt that the best method was speaking. And somehow I found, as I began speaking, I found that I had a talent for, translating complex ideas in simple words, so that they are easily understood and retained, and that's how Vera happened or things. So you are able to impart, reach out, touch the individual in the audience through speech. And I'm a very shy person, so this was rather a big leap for me. Very shy, very reserved. I never like to speak about myself, never like to speak about my work. So even my so-called career, which is unpaid, my bread and butter career is in the IAS, that pays the bills. This is the career where I give back. And this career was itself a kind of progression, because I started with abstractions. I would speak of concepts. Then I started, using illustrations so as to better reach the audience. If you let us say that agency theory, let us say principal agent theory in economics. Now, if you say principal agent theory in economics, I'll see a blank wall of faces. But then I say that your teacher gives you a job and she goes out of the room. Her intention is that you study chapter 1 of Samuelson, but you spend the time chatting. So there's a dichotomy between what the principal intends and what the agent does. So when I explain it in that way, people understand. So I transitioned from, as a speaker, I transitioned from concepts to live, to examples, to real examples, because my work gave a lot of real examples. Every day I can see something happening in administration which relates back to some theory, which I have studied as a PhD scholar. And then more and more I began to be comfortable speaking about myself. So even my journey as a speaker, there's been a progression. But basically this is what I have done, that I have used speech to people to reach out. And so maybe that will be my legacy. I don't know. That is
yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you are an inspiration for women, because you are an IAS officer. You are you are in field of education. You are a PhD holder, and you are doing a lot of things. So you are an inspiration for women. So, ma'am, what is your message for women, especially for youth, girls and women?
Yeah. To say we are all an inspiration to each other. I get inspired every day by the people I meet around me. But there's one message which I would like to share, and this has worked for me. I feel that all of us should cultivate what I call PSR, personal social responsibility. We all know about CSR, corporate social responsibility. Everybody knows CSR. But CSR is something outside us. And public service within government is something outside. So every time we see some wrong or something lacking among the people around us or in the society around us, it is up to us to do something about it. We tend to dismiss this as this is CSR or this is government's job. But no, it is our duty, because we are part of a society. Society has given us a place, and therefore it is our personal social responsibility to cultivate that. And that, you can do it in multiple ways. There are any number of ways in which you do it. What I suggest is that from the start, have a dual career. Okay, and I have tried it. There is enough time. You will think that there is no time, but there is enough time. Time expands according to the work you do. So there is one career, as I said, which as an IAS officer, it pays my bills. That is my bread and butter career.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but there is something where I pay back to society, and that is my career as a speaker, as a volunteer. So it could be anything. I mean, choose something which you like. Like if you're good at singing, then go and sing in hospitals. I have a classmate from school. She used to be a very good singer even at school. And today she's a homemaker, but she goes to different hospitals and sings for the patients in ICUs.
Okay.
And that is how she gives back. So choose something where, you either have an expertise. Suppose you love English poetry. Then, teach, read it out, recite it to children in your neighborhood. Okay, choose something which you like or something which you know well. Okay, I don't know carpentry, so I can't go around teaching carpentry to someone. My area of expertise or my area of passion, that is what I choose. And choose small. Don't try to change the world. Start with your neighborhood, with your family, your friends, whoever is most in need. Reach out to that person. Around you will find plenty of opportunities where you share. But the key point is that you should have a dual career. A career where you earn and another career where you give or you share. So that is, it could be in any way. I would always suggest choose something which you like and can do, and then the time will come.
Yes.
There is more than enough time in the world for all the activities which we wish to do.
Yes.
It's only the interest and the passion which is. So that is what I would want all of you to have dual career. My daughter does it. She's a corporate lawyer. There are no days or nights. She is working 24/7. But she finds time in her spare time, and she goes to a voluntary center where they take care of stray cats. She's fond of cats. Different from law. But she spends her time, and my favorite picture of her, I wish I had thought of this, I would have shared it with you, is of her surrounded by her cats in that center. So you'll find a way. So that is the message which I would like to share.
Yes, ma'am, thank you very much for your nice interaction, because I hope all the youth, women will inspire from your talk, and they will find their way, dual career way, like one is bread and butter and another is their passion and their dreams. So thank you very much, ma'am.